Hello, everyone. This is Ron Kraft with WorkMax, and thank you for joining today's webinar. We'll give everyone just another minute here to get connected and get ready, and then we will jump in. All right. Well, thank you again, everybody. Good to be with you today. My name is Ron Kraft with WorkMax, and I'm excited to be joined today with the great Mel Lemon with us, who's going to be having a great conversation on WorkMax with us today. So just a quick by way of introduction and also just some housekeeping items. This is a live webinar, and so those that are participating that are on, if you do have any questions, please feel free to add those into the question box. We will be answering those questions, time permitting. And everyone should be able to see and hear myself and Mel, but everyone else is going to be muted with cameras off at this point. So just let's by way of introductions. So my name is Ron Kraft with WorkMax. So I've been with WorkMax for about almost 8 years now. I am a regional sales manager, so I do all of the product demos and things like that. My contact information is here. Any questions, or if you would like to have more of a personal one-on-one demo of the system, I would love to have that conversation with you. And I'm joined today by Mel Lemon, who is is from Yoho Electrical. And Mel is a WorkMax customer. And Mel, just maybe take a quick minute, introduce yourself here for everybody.
I'm Mel Lemon. I've been with Alan Yoho for about 9 years. We are a small electrical company in Virginia. Um, we we do about $10 million a year in revenue and have anywhere from 40 to 50. We try to stay under the 50 number employees.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm excited to be chatting with you today, and thank you for taking time to go through this with us. Um, so just a little bit more on WorkMax too, for those that aren't familiar. WorkMax is a cloud platform for data collection. Okay, it's a mobile app for time tracking, making it easy for your guys to be able to report their time, hours, labor from the field, but seeing that in real time in the office as well. So there's some great features and functions that are part of that system to help validate and verify all of that data, of course, tagging that to jobs, codes, and integrate it with your accounting system. WorkMax is part of the Foundation software family. So these are the other companies and products of Foundation, WorkMax being one of those on the time tracking side. Now, if you do have interest or if you have questions about any of these other products or companies, please feel free to reach out and would love to see how we might be able to help you guys. Okay. Now, just a little bit more on Alan Yoho Electrical. So, Mel, I know you guys are there in Virginia, right? And you've been around
Yes.
for quite a while. And you guys do commercial, industrial, electrical projects. You talked
Yes.
about you guys are trying to keep under that 50 employee count, right? That's more manageable that way, right? Um,
It, there seems to be some government regulations that start kicking in on us with that
right.
above 50.
Got it. And I guess maybe some of the needs for you guys as you were looking at implementing a new solution like WorkMax. Can you talk maybe, and this will kind of transition into some of these Q&As that we'll go through, just understanding your processes, what were some of those challenges you were trying to solve, and it sounds
Sure,
like right here what you guys are currently doing with your time tracking. Can you speak to that just a little bit more?
sure. But prior to implementing WorkMax, we have actually two locations, and our offices are about 45 miles apart. With that, we have our employees who are almost never in the office. They're constantly in the field. And the way that we were working was they were doing timesheets, handwritten timesheets, and they would fill those timesheets out and then take a picture of that timesheet and email that into the office.
Wow.
One of the issues that we had with that is, first of all, electricians are not necessarily calligraphers. Their handwriting is very, some of them have beautiful handwriting, but for the most part, myself included, handwriting is not one of our great specialties. So when that came into the office, we had two ladies that spent about 2 days, 2 full days, taking those emails and typing that information into our accounting
Yeah.
software, which is Foundation is what we use for our accounting package. When they would do that, the problems that we would run into is, first of all, the guys out in the field may be a little dyslexic with their job numbers. They may have, if we had a 39204 job, it may be 39402 on their
Right.
timesheet. And and then one of the things that we capture on our timesheets is they give detailed notes of the work that they were doing that
Okay.
day because we do a fair amount of time and material work of where the customers want to see exactly what they're paying for. If your guy was
Right.
there for 10 hours, what was he doing during those 10 hours? So they would write that out. Again, you've got two ladies who are not electricians, and they're trying to interpret things that the electricians are telling them that they're working on, VFDs, different amp services, and that really made no sense to the ladies, but they would type the information in, and so we're getting errors in the description, we're getting errors in the job number, we're taking 2 days to enter this information, so you got the salary of two people sitting doing nothing but this. And then we discovered WorkMax,
Hmm.
and that was a great fit for us. Um,
Great. So
what
let me pause you there for a second because I think you're speaking to a lot of other companies, I think, and being relatable to how they're currently operating. I mean, we've as a company, WorkMax, we've been in business for 20, 25 years or so, and I talk with other companies in that same situation where everything's manual, right? And you're there is no automation there. You're not being efficient with the data collection, with the time. You talked about, your team members in office who have to manually go through and do all of that. I think that can be and is very, very relatable to a lot of other companies, right? And so you're not alone in those challenges. But what was it for you guys? Like, what was, I guess, maybe the motivating factor that said, hey, you know what, there's got to be a better way? What was it, or was there anything specific that kind of drove you guys to make a change?
I think specifically our biggest um, thing that we were looking for was something that could integrate into our accounting software. We
Okay.
didn't want to have to double dip.
Right.
And
Right.
by having a program that allowed us to integrate directly into our accounting software and our payroll software, um, that allowed us. We do have. I say that we intentionally stay below that 50 number, but we do have intentions of growing, and
Right.
we're growing rather rapidly right now, and with WorkMax, it allowed us to become much more scalable. We still
Hmm.
have the two ladies that are reviewing the WorkMax, but what used to take 2 days for them to do, each of them can do half of the about 45 people who are actually doing
Yeah.
a timesheet. It takes them about half a day to review that, and then it's entered in automatically, imported
And then
into
they
our
can spend time doing things that they need to be doing, right?
they
Yeah.
can do other things. It just made us so much more scalable. When we were doing that by hand, if we added 10 electricians, we were going to need another person to start helping enter in these timesheets. But now, if we added 10 electricians, it would not change one bit
Wow.
because of the speed that you can review the time.
Got it.
It's,
So it sounds like your main goal there was to find a solution that obviously integrated with your accounting software foundation, um, to more streamline and automate the process, right?
Absolutely.
Eliminate the manual steps of collecting and entering in all that data. So
Yes.
you found WorkMax. Were there, I guess maybe, were there any specific features or functions of the WorkMax system that was a fit for you, or even now that you've been using it for a while? What are those key things that you enjoy of the system? Maybe even from the field side, what does that look like for those guys making that transition?
The guys in the field, we when we first went into this, we had some electricians, some of our guys are not exactly technically savvy. They even struggle with snapping a picture of their timesheet and getting that correctly to the
Yeah,
email. So
yeah,
we're spending time on Monday mornings constantly contacting these guys, say, hey, you need to get your timesheet. And I go, I thought I sent it. But the guys in the field adapted to this so quickly because never before have they had the opportunity to see all the work that was going on.
yeah,
With WorkMax, they're able to open up WorkMax on their phone, look into it, and we're not guessing at what job they're working on. They know
yep,
exactly which job they're working on. They picked that job, so we no longer have errors in you know the example I used of the 39204 being a 39402. That's completely
right,
gone because
yep,
they're selecting the job and we're not trying to decipher their handwriting of what that is. And then as they put those notes in, they're actually typing the notes into WorkMax on their phone, just like texting, which unfortunately everyone does
everybody
these days.
does, right? Yeah,
Everybody does it. But the guys that we thought would struggle with it, they picked it up so quick
wow.
and were so excited to be able to do it that way.
Well, it
They
sounds like
really,
it made it easier for them, right? I mean,
it
it's
did
it's
it's
basically
easier
laid
for
out
them
for
to
them.
much easier for them to text that than it was to they had to find the paper timesheet and then figure out what they were doing and it just was so convoluted. One of the things they did also with the handwritten timesheets is they kind of there was a gathering around whatever project they were on, water cooler on Monday morning. What did we do last Monday? What did we do on Tuesday? And so they're sitting kind of remembering what they did
Right, right.
for a week and WorkMax because they're submitting it every day on a daily basis. The accuracy of what they're doing
Hmm.
is so much better at remembering what they're doing, which is much more efficient for even our end customer in getting the correct information of what they did.
That's a great point that I want to touch on and maybe even go a little deeper on is the accuracy with the data. But before we go there, I want to, in hearing you talk about your guys in the field, I think that's one of the biggest. Well, one, it's one of the key things in implementing any solution, right, is adoption. And I think too, a lot of companies are hesitant to make those changes because they fear that my guys won't do it, or they don't know how to do it, or they don't want to do it, right? So for you then to say, hey, you know what? Our guys actually loved it. It was simple, it was easier, it saved them time. So I think that's critical to hear, you know, that field adoption, making sure that it is simple enough and easy for them to use, but it's also saving them time, right? So that's great. I'm glad to hear that, and thank you for sharing that point. But so you mentioned just now, though, how all of this it, it, it it's doing a number of things, or it's done a number of things. But you just touched on the accuracy of the data. Um, so with that, I mean, that goes into, how has this really impacted the bottom line or, business operations for you guys there at Allen Yoho?
Yeah, I will say as even at looking at the cost of WorkMax to implement it, it has by far paid for itself only in the two ladies that are entering the data
Mhm.
are able to do other things now, which relieves other people of stuff and frees them up to do things. The accuracy, um, when we build jobs, you're not having to question. If the ladies entered notes incorrectly and you're trying to decipher that, then I had to track down the electrician and say, hey, what did you do on this job? I can't really decipher what they're telling me here. And so that time savings there, I mean, it has just sped every step of the process from working to invoicing just so much faster, so much
Yeah.
easier.
And it's one thing to to talk about that and say, yes, we're saving time here, and now there's so and so's able to do this or do that. But when you put dollars to that as well, right? I mean, that's a huge impact to a business. I had
It
another
is.
customer where they were spending, I think it was about 2 days. No, it yeah, it was 2 days of them, similar to you guys, doing payroll, right?
Yep.
And after implementing WorkMax, they were able to bring that down to like a couple of hours. That's a huge cost savings. And that's just one side of the business. That's just in the office. The time that's spent from the field as well, how much time is it taking our guys to get all that in? How much time are we spending going back and forth like what you just described? Hey, what did you guys do yesterday? What did you do last week? So
Mhm.
so yeah, it's pretty impactful to a business. Um,
It
so
is.
so now that you guys have been using the system for a while, looking back on it, what was, maybe talk a little bit about what was your experience with implementing the solution itself, with the training and and getting that up to speed. How was that for you guys?
I will say when you finally pull the trigger and say, okay, this is what we're going with, this is the solution we're going to do, and you get the information from WorkMax, and it's like I don't know, maybe 6 week training for the office staff
Right.
to actually grasp it. I mean, your first thought is, how can it take 6 weeks to learn how to use this? What are they going to do in that 6 weeks? But as you start going through it, it is so well prepared from the people training. The guy that we had training us, Josh was his name,
Oh,
just
Josh, yeah.
so methodical and such a pleasure to work with. But they take you step by step, and the first training session, like I say, you're just overwhelmed with it. By
Sure.
the second training session, you start kind of getting a little grasp of it, but you just work step by step into it. And I remember Josh telling us, we shared with him that we had some concern with some of our employees, whether they would be able to pick it up or not. One of the things that he said that has resonated with us is that if you can use an ATM, you can use WorkMax.
Yeah.
And that is
Right.
so the ones that had the most trouble with taking pictures and emailing pictures were were like the superstars of turning in perfect WorkMax timesheets, turning them in,
Yeah.
just just getting them on time. Having that daily input and having that in, but the training really is great, and you train
Yeah.
the office staff, and then you kind of create your own, you know, super users and
Yeah.
teach them how, 3 or 4 people in the field to use it, and then they teach the others. It is the 6 weeks, which, like I say, it sounds like a long time, goes very quickly, and you're learning something every single week on how to use it.
That's a great point too. I mean, because yeah, I mean, anyone could just download an app and start using it, right? But yes, WorkMax is a mobile app, but it is connected to so many pieces of the business, in the field, in the office, accounting, payroll, right? All of those things. And I think it's important to know and realize that if something's going to be done, it should be done right. And we've been in business, like I said, almost 25 years, and we realize that we're only successful if you are, right? I mean, it doesn't make sense for us just to sign you up and say, okay, well, good luck, hope it works, right? So
Yep,
it's good and refreshing to hear that, your experience was, that of, it was very detailed, it was very thought out, and the end result was now it's you're a success with it, right? I mean, you guys are having success with it, I should say. Um,
absolutely.
so what now would you, looking back, prior to WorkMax, is there anything that you would change, or are there things that you mentioned earlier how this now is allowing you guys to be scalable and to grow because it's able to be managed, right? Um, what things are you guys looking for within your business, within your company, and how are you seeing WorkMax help you guys kind of take that next step?
I think the scalable is the biggest issue of it, and being able to free up the time and you know time time recording, time keeping, whatever you want to call it, just being such a small part of your time consumption now
Yeah,
has allowed everyone just to be able to free up, which allows us, allows even like estimators who are keeping time sheets and stuff, more time to estimate. If you have more time to estimate, you can bring in more jobs. More jobs means more money. So,
right,
you
right.
know, that
Yeah,
the I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, you're fine. I was just gonna say I think data is king, right? And so the more data, the more information, and the better accuracy with that data, the better off. You're talking about your estimators. I mean, when you're getting accurate data with the time tracking, now you're going to be better off for future bidding and estimating as well, right? You're not just guesstimating, you're dialed in because you know exactly how long it takes your guys to do X, Y, and Z, right? But it all
Yeah.
comes down to the data. So to be able to streamline and automate those processes, make it simple and easy for the guys in the field, seeing that in real time, connecting and integrating that with your accounting system is key. And I think from the WorkMax side, I think that's been one of the things that's helped us as a company is that our background, we come from construction. Our original owners actually were general contractors. And so that's helped us build a solution where we definitely understand who our target audience is, right? You talked about how Josh said, if a guy can use an ATM to get 20 bucks out, they can use the
Yeah.
app, right?
Yes.
But so it's with WorkMax, we tried to make it where it's super simple and easy for the guys in the field, but powerful back in the office where we need it. Now, are you using WorkMax in any other ways? Are you integrating this with like other third-party systems, or how are you using the data from WorkMax?
Like I said, we do integrate into Foundation, and as I told you, that was our biggest plus of going with WorkMax and why we even entered it. We don't. There are no other programs that we use other than Foundation, so
Yeah,
that's our only integration. But it is a tremendous help. I mean, even the reverse side of it, of if you went with another type of timekeeping, of which we looked at, you have to load all of your jobs, all of your information has to be loaded
hmm,
into that timekeeping process. WorkMax works both ways. You can
right,
take your foundation information of when you set jobs up and create the jobs inside of your accounting package, and they go directly into your
yes,
WorkMax timekeeping. And that's why I say it's encouraging to the guys in the field who they may be only working on one or two jobs, but when they see that, oh, there's 45 jobs going on right now,
right,
that's encouraging to know that your company's not going out of business tomorrow,
yeah,
and there's constantly new work coming in, and they see that. It's
yeah. It's a
encouraging
big
to them.
benefit to automate that connection with WorkMax, where like with Foundation, or we actually do that with over 100 other accounting systems, but it's a
Sure.
direct connection, right? You just put the data in your accounting system, it pulls over to WorkMax automatically. So yeah, there's no double entry. You don't have to download anything. So that, again, another time saver of managing the data that way. So,
Yes.
anything else, Mel, that you'd like to share, or just with your overall experience with WorkMax?
There are our overall experience, as I've said, and is absolutely great with it. But there are a number of items that we don't even use. We chose as a
Mm,
company not to use. Um, we use it basically to capture, very similar to like the paper timesheet that was coming
sure,
in. There are so many ways of 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 monitoring and ensuring that your employees are actually working on the job site and they're doing what they say they do by geofencing if you want to do that, by time stamping their clock. That I can see that as a great advantage for employees. We have all of our employees. I know every employer would say this, but we have a great relationship with all of our guys. We
right,
trust
right,
them. They've worked for us for yeah, our average employee is probably 9 to 10 years with the company. So we have
wow,
long history with them, but it does give you that ability to, if you question, are these guys working these hours? Is this guy working on this job site?
right,
There are ways that we are not utilizing that could be beneficial to companies that need a better time clock, for lack
yeah.
of a better word.
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, you do trust your guys, but you trust and verify, right? So
Right.
being able to have that verification there, and that's a great point where where the WorkMax system is so flexible and customizable, right? We don't try to pigeonhole you into, you have to do it this way. It's very customizable, and I think you're explaining that for you guys. Hey, we maybe don't necessarily need these features, but we need these, right? And knowing though that it's a system that can allow you to grow and scale, whether maybe down the road we do want to start doing GPS, or we do want to do facial recognition, or maybe we do want to do digital forms, or we do want to track equipment. It's nice when you can consolidate multiple areas like that into just one location, right? We're not having to start up a whole new app or a new program. It's already there. So, yeah, WorkMax is very, very flexible and customizable based off of the needs of the business. Okay. Well, Mel, I appreciate the time today. It's been great visiting with you, and I thank you for sharing your story with others, and maybe helping them to realize the possibility of, hey, you know what, there's a better way, right? It doesn't have to be the same way we've been doing it for the last 10, 20, 30, 40 years, right? It's 2025.
Yeah.
There's technology that can be used to improve our business. So, um, just as we wrap up here today, my contact information here, Mel, as well as your email. So, if you do have any questions and you would like to maybe spend some time and take a look at WorkMax to see how we might be able to help you to streamline and automate those processes, get better accuracy with the data, eliminate all those manual processes and human error as well, and see how that might impact your business going forward. So thank you again, Mel. Great visiting with you again, as always, and appreciate your time. And thank you, everyone, for joining today's webinar.
Thank you.